informed of Ukraine's planned act of terrorism, and we did nothing about it. Worse, after the terror attack, our warmongering establishment class celebrated. For the celebration, they sent more money to Ukraine. They rewarded them. This is a common trend.
Senator Cruz, like you, I am, and I think the administration is very gratified to know that Nord Stream 2 is now, as you like to say, a hunk of metal at the bottom of the sea.
In the last few weeks, suicide drones launched by Ukraine began raining down on residential neighborhoods in Moscow. These are not military targets. This is terrorism on civilian targets. The head of Ukraine's military intelligence service bragged in a recent interview that Kyiv had assassinated citizens and journalists inside of Russia. Major General Krylo Bundanov crowed that Ukraine had successfully targeted Russian civilians. The Ukrainian general then gave a dark threat. Outright scum will be eventually punished in any country in the world. Only elimination can be a well-deserved punishment, Bundanov said, per the Kiev Post. These are the words of an ISIS tribal leader, not an American ally getting billions in aid. One of the civilian targets was Russian war correspondent Valdin Tatarsky. Tatarsky died in an explosion at a St. Petersburg cafe when he was handed a bomb in broad daylight. 24 others were taken to the hospital, 6 in critical condition. 29-year-old daughter of Russian political commentator Alexander Dugin was killed in August the 20th when a bomb placed in her father's car exploded as she drove through Moscow. Earlier this month, Russian writer Zakhar Preplin was injured in a similar car bomb attack. The Ukrainian terror is not limited to outside of Ukraine's borders. Plenty happens inside of Ukraine's borders. In 2022, the New York Times reported that Ukraine intentionally flooded one of its villages when troops opened a nearby dam. This was not an outlier, according to the Times. Ukraine has been swift and effective in wreaking havoc on its own territory, often by destroying infrastructure. The Washington Post ominously wrote in December that Ukraine conducted a test strike on the massive Nova Dam in preparation for the spring offensive. The dam was blown up this month, causing catastrophic flooding, destruction of an entire region, and a potential nuclear disaster by cutting off cooling to a nuclear plant. The dam had been under Russian control since February, so why would Russia blow up such a strategic asset? Much like Ukraine blaming Russia for blowing up the Nord Stream, it makes no sense. But to an American, nothing happening inside of Ukraine would make any sense to you. Life under the rule of Zelensky is entirely antithetical to the values you assume America fights for. The Zelensky regime has criminalized free speech. They've shuttered media outlets. They've exerted full totalitarian state control over private business, banks, and property. The Zelensky regime openly persecutes Christians and Christian priests, church leaders.